All right. We're going to start with a section of interview that I just did. If you're not in the leasing game, this gentleman has been in the leasing game since the beginning with his dad. Sold a company a couple of years ago. It's a great video. It's now live on our YouTube channel, so you can check it out. And this is Rusty. Here we go.
Thanks for having me, first of all. These things are always kind of fun. Auto leasing in the U.S., and I've been in that space, or was in that space from 1988 until 2023, is very cyclical, and it seems like it's a 7-year cycle.
Right.
We had a pretty downturn cycle through COVID and all the rest of it, just in the automotive space in general.
Yep.
The interest rates are so high, cars are so expensive that it's getting to the point where it's very difficult for consumers to afford a nice vehicle.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of different schools of thoughts. I'm always a big believer in that consumers' behavior is kind of dictated by how much upfront, how much a month for how many months, right? Because they care about how much they pay for a car, but at the end of the day, the amount that they actually pay for the car, if they can't afford the payments, it doesn't matter. And if they pay, seemingly a whole lot for the car, but they get a screaming deal and they can afford the upfront and the payments, and it makes sense for them, then maybe they'll take a more expensive car. So, and with the lease, if you get a good structure on a lease, you can have a much more affordable payment than on a purchase.
So that's a section of the interview. So if you are interested in learning about leasing, it's a masterclass on leasing. It's about a 40-minute interview. It does get more interesting than that, but Rusty is a legend in the leasing game. So if you are interested in leasing, or you're looking possibly for someone to fund your startup or expand your business, he is an avid car collector and a technology entrepreneur in auto. So you may want to check out Rusty West. Here we go.
Hey, are you Ian Nethercott, the host of the Auto Hub Show?
All right. Life is about connection. Having a support system to lean on. And roads to endless possibility.
Yes! Mom.
At every turn, guiding the way, we are building the connections that move you.
Hey, I'm Vince Delmonico, General Sales Manager with Cruise Ford Lincoln. Larry Feldman came out and did one of our training courses. Absolutely incredible. I sat through the course myself. The engagement that our salespeople gained from it, the excitement that he brings, it was a new way of looking at things that we're already doing and how we can improve them. Love it. It's literally the best thing since sliced bread.
How do you adventure? Is it fast? Is it free? Is it clear? Is it rugged? Is it remote? For your next adventure, trust MotoClose for buying, selling, trading, and protecting all of your motorized assets. Powered by Disclose Dealership Management Dashboard, your all-in-one DMS, CRM, menu, lead gen, inventory, staff, client, and deal management solution. Disclose DMD, like a DMS, only better. Mention promo code AutoHub2025 to get special pricing, including waive setup costs, no contract, and your first month's free.
Meta, Instagram, social, and your team is still waiting for ups like it's 1999. Let's be honest, your market isn't watching TV commercials, they're double tapping and engaging with your competitors on social media posts. People are shopping these days for cars and servicing their vehicles in between watching cat videos. That's where we can help. Retail Resilient is the go-to authority for social selling in the car industry. Whether you're a new car franchise dealer, an independent, a buy here, pay here, a broker, a dealership owner or manager, we have something for you. Remember, when your lot is quiet, it means your social media is not loud enough. Check us out at retailresilient.com so we can retarget you on our social media feeds.
And good morning. First of all, I wanted to announce a new sponsor for the 2026 season. In addition to Numa, I'll be at the booth at NADA 2026 at their booth. We just announced DSMA. If you're not familiar with DSMA, they help dealers buy and sell dealerships. So if you are looking to buy or sell a dealership, Fareed and his team will be at NADA. I hear they're having a party. Details to come soon. And if you are interested in sponsoring the Auto Hub show and growing your business one show at a time, there's one spot left. I should have it sold today. So if you're interested, just reach out. Anyway, today I thought we would start, being the end of the year, with the first person to log on, which was Nick. Nick, what's your best prediction for 2026? Please introduce yourself. And if you don't watch it every year, I always do. The Simpsons are pretty good at predicting this. But go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, love to get the Simpsons prediction for the auto industry. Nick Chavinsky, I'm VP of Sales at Savvy Dealer. We're a 13-year-old digital marketing and website company. Prior to this, I spent 20 years in retail, variable ops, desk and deals, living the chaos. Then 5 years, I was with Cox Automotive most recently as a performance manager with B Auto. Jeff, prediction for 2026. And honestly, I think 2026 is going to be a gut check year. Right now, it takes 36 weeks of income to buy a new car. That's it. I don't know how sustainable that is, and I think that the dealers who have the right processes, who are dialed in, who know where the money that they're spending, where it's going, and what's working, I think they're going to be fine. I think that the dealers that throw money at the shiny new tools, are going to, I think it's going to be a little rougher for them. So I think 2026 is going to be, one of those years that really, puts the good operators to the top.
Interesting. We were talking before the show, in the pre-show, a little bit about gentleman I interviewed. He was talking about buying a used Porsche Taycan S, which is their fancy one. I think it's about 180 grand new for about 35 grand. And I was laughing about it, saying, hey, you're going to see these things on subprime lots soon as a car that you can finance with bad credit as you get into the electric game. So let's start with Ron next. Go ahead, Ron.
I think we're pretty much in the same boat from what I've seen from some of the predictions from like Edmunds and Cox is they're predicting still close to 16 million in total sales for the year. So to me, that's somewhat flat, but I think you're right about the unknown. The biggest thing is the shift from new to used, and how that's already starting to take effect. And you're right, it's affordability right now. That's the big thing on everybody's mind is affordability. And it looks like the entire industry is throwing the whole electric vehicle situation out the window. I mean, it's kind of crazy the about face that's happening and what's happening with that market since the incentives went away and they basically disappeared, because I think that the value proposition that was there was really the main incentive for people to take that leap of faith and go to an electric vehicle. And without that, that $7,500 tax credit and that big money being put behind the electric vehicles, there's a reason that they fell flat. And you add that in coupled with what else is happening. Yeah, there may be 16 million in sales, but how much of it is going to be used versus new, right? And how much is the third-party market, the private party market going to help and affect that? Because I think that's going to be a big thing, because people are going to say, hey, I don't want to trade it into a dealer now. I'm going to try to sell this myself if I want to get any money out of my car.
Yeah,
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I know, Larry, you're really big on government incentives, free money from the government to back up car sales. What's your opinion on, do you think electric cars can sell themselves without the rebate? What do you think?
Sure. I'm going to open a electric vehicle lot backed by some Somalis in Minnesota. I'm sure the whole thing will be flawless. Listen, here's the real deal. It's going to be a great year. All right. The interest rates are going to come down. If new cars stop selling, you know what that'll mean? That'll mean the OEMs will have to come up with better incentives and better programs. Nature abhors the vacuum. We're going to be just fine. All will be well. Hey, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty optimistic. And if any of you need a pump up, just get Chris Snowgrove to help you do a video.
Thanks, Matt. Larry. Chris, what do you think? What do you think? What is your best prediction other than videos I hear?
Larry, the internal optimist, always optimistic. And
But wait a minute, Chris, before you go, everybody always says that about me, but let me ask you a question. Doesn't it pay to always be an eternal optimist? If things are absolutely rotten, why waste time worrying about it for 2 months? And if they're going to be great, then you waste all that time being upset.
100%.
See, I just made him an eternal optimist. That's fun. Let's go get some pizza. I think we've accomplished our mission.
I think dealers are going to have to really focus on standing apart and doing above and beyond to really stand out. It's going to get more competitive. They've got to focus on providing the absolute best exceptional customer experiences possible to attract shoppers. And I think I don't even like the term CSI because it's customer satisfaction index. I think that you've got to be delighting customers these days. You really have to go above and beyond in order to create raving fans. And that's really what we're pushing with our dealer clients is, hey, what are you doing that's different than your competition? Are you doing anything that's different? Are you making it a memorable experience? And when you do that, you're going to attract more people. You're going to create advocates and fans out of your customers. And when you do that, you turn your customers into a marketing force for you.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. So I was watching an interview on the weekend. A gentleman who runs one of the largest dealer groups in the Canadian market. He's buying U.S. stores at a good clip now. I think he has 70 stores. And it was interesting because he was talking about the difference in the culture with the stores that he buys happens to be on the West Coast of the U.S. Because he's not a big East Coast guy, just because he happens to be based in Western Canada. And he said, there's always a lot of fear when I buy a U.S. store because they think I'm going to roll heads. And he said, really what it's about is, yeah, people are going to make mistakes, but how are we building a long-term brand that's different from the competition? And he managed to do that in the Canadian market across the country, and then decided to just do Western Canada because it was more in line with his point of view. But now he's in a lot of different areas. But more importantly, he started out, and this was kind of funny, he started out working for his dad at a high school, and his dad's marketing genius idea was, oh, we should do training for new car drivers so that way they'll buy a Ford because we're teaching them how to drive on a Ford. That was his marketing idea back in like 1997. He's like, yeah, well, if we do the classes, then we can make sure they drive a Ford because that's what we're teaching them to drive. And I thought that was really interesting because at the end of the day, there's, whether it's Carvana, whether it's Amazon, whether it's CarMax, whether it's a used car lot or a new car franchise, really it's about customers. If you don't delight the customer, you don't create that experience, you don't save them time, you don't make it easy for them, yeah, you're really in trouble. And I think what's going to happen in 2026 is that's going to accelerate. If you're not familiar with Katie Maris, I've interviewed her a number of times for the show and in person and remotely. She's all about customer experience or her experience. But when you look at it, whether it be a hotel chain, whether it be an airline, whether it be a restaurant, even a fast food restaurant, I know we've talked about this at scale on the show, really, it's about that experience. No one's paying $20 for a Big Mac just because it's a Big Mac. It's got to be that burger that they remember and the service level they remember. What do you think, Peter?
Well, I kind of agree with you, but for my view is we are going to see prices, stabilize a little bit. Interest rates are going to come down, which will help sales. But I think this is going to be a lot of about reviews and engagement and what we've been talking about. And I think Chris is right on the money there. People, and like you said, people want a good experience. And I think this year we're going to see this more than ever because people are becoming more vocal about everything, whether it's a washing machine they bought or a hamburger they had or the car experience. And they're really putting a lot of weight into the experience. So the dealers don't get their act together and improve that buyer's experience, from when they first start shopping to when they're in the dealership, they're not going to succeed. And the ones that actually do take the time to care about the customer experience, I think are going to do phenomenally well in the future.
Fantastic. So based on that experience and based on the fact that the market's going to get different, what do you think your company's going to have to do differently as you move forward into 2026? I know, Peter, you help people market to car dealers. What do you think you have to do differently? But more importantly, what are you telling vendors and dealers they have to do differently in 2026?
It's funny you mentioned that, and because I have one client who doesn't quite get it. I keep trying to explain to him that it's about relationship. Email, that's what our core competency is email. Email is all about relationship building. And they literally are asking me to spam the industry. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it. And they're having a fit about it. And quite honestly, it doesn't make any sense. I've explained to them time and time again, you cannot spam the dealers. You got to build a relationship. And what I can tell you, I've seen working for vendors is a lot of my clients are writing articles. They're getting published in different magazines and they're sending out articles to the industry. The dealers are actually reading the articles. And the last thing I want to throw out, which is very strange, Sunday has become our biggest, most successful day for our marketing efforts when we're doing articles. Literally, we did an article for a client this weekend. They had 13,000 opens of that email, which is extremely high, and over 500 people actually read that article over the weekend. Those are great numbers because they're not selling in the article, they're educating, and the dealers are looking for an easy way to get information and knowledge. So I think vendors need to be doing a better job of educating about themselves.
So Larry, what are you doing differently in 2026?
Good question. Well, I'm obviously took the advice, actually take everybody's advice from your darn show. Chris beat me to death about videos. So wherever I go, I try to get somebody to say, this really made sense and it was worthwhile. Ian always, for the guys that I don't know that well, Ian always teases me because I am the least technical human being that has ever lived. My iPhone has a rotary. But I honestly think that while I embrace AI, I have a system that calls me on Saturday. I give a little pitch and then they turn it into AI articles. So I'm not a dinosaur, but I have to tell you, I had to do something this morning where I had to reach out to a company. After 19 prompts, I wanted to kill everybody at this company. When I got into this business, the bad guys, not bad evil, just the bad stupid guys would pull the inventory out of their back pocket. They had a sheet, it was printed out and say, let me tell you what we have. Hey, stupid, get off your butt and go out and show them what we have. And then they go, wow, that's great. Because right to this day, 4 out of 5 don't buy what they came in for. Now, on the other hand, if you had the inventory and you studied it and used it as a tool, awesome. But when you use things as a crutch, you're in trouble. Dealers that are smart and proactive and understand how important fixed ops is and have always kept an eye on their inventory and a quick used car turn, they're going to be smart enough to use AI as a tool. But I'm telling you, the dealers that are going to use it as a crutch are going to be in for a world of trouble because it's bad enough, and I don't mean this facetiously, it's bad enough talking to a stupid salesperson, but when you're talking to a stupid AI, when you're talking to something where you ask a question and they respond like you didn't ask the question. So I think we're going to see what we always see. I think you'll all agree. The dealers that are smart, the dealers that understand the importance of balance with fixed and variable, how important a used car lot is because the OEM can't get your way and make you completely insane with how they control inventory or what the programs are going to rock and roll. And here's the really cool thing, Ian. We could have had the same discussion 10 years ago or 40 years ago. It all depends on how much you're paying attention and how much you're in. Ron, you'll definitely agree with me. How many times have you heard dealers brag about their culture? And I think it's mostly because they don't know what the hell their culture is. They don't have a friend or a member of the family call up and try to get a service appointment or do a blind sales call and just ask them basic questions. So it's the same thing as always. Chris is very sociable, so he probably went to 19 Christmas parties. And he met some guys that he thought, hey, this guy's cool, I'm going to switch business cards. And he met a couple of morons that got drunk and were flirt with everybody's wife until they get punched in the mouth. So nothing's changed. The world's the world. People that are dialed in are going to stay dialed in. And the people that are dumb, it's going to be easier to be dumb because you have an AI crutch. Other than that, I have no strong opinions on the subject.
Okay, no strong opinions. No worries. Ron, you do, Ron? Go ahead.
Because I think, first off, I think maybe you have the wrong AI.
which is actually most of the AI out there, right? And I
Whoa,
obviously.
whoa, whoa, Ron, not being a smart aleck. I'm with you, but who knows what the right AI is?
Well, that's the thing. I encounter that every day with 360 Auto AI of everybody, and some of these are, I'm not going to name any names in particular, but most of the companies that are out there, a lot of the companies that are out there are doing machine learning. So when you talk about 19 prompts and not getting the questions, that's what happens with machine learning, because machine learning AI, which is the most base form, but what most everybody has, that AI is only as good as who programs it to do that simple single task, and it doesn't move on from there. Whereas autonomous AI, agentic AI, is proactive, not reactive. So it's asking all the right questions of the customer and giving all the right answers. So I think AI is going to play a major, major part. And in bringing this back to guys like Chris and anybody else who's doing video out there and social, I mean, we've already moved into, now we're working on doing AI with the things that the dealers don't like to do. And that's, or they're very poor at. And that is testimonials and walkarounds. Okay. Getting video, good quality video is crucial right now for content. I'm going to use these two words interchangeably, content and AI, because they're extremely important going into 2026. Everybody at NADA is going to be on the AI bandwagon, and every dealer who isn't is going to be left in the dust. It's plain and simple, because that's the way the whole economy is going. If you didn't have a website today, where would you be if you were a car dealer? You'd be nowhere, right? But that's how we felt about the web 20 years ago. And that's this entire paradigm shift of what's going on in not just the automotive market, in the entire world with AI and AI tools. And everybody and their brother has an AI tool, right? They all do. Everybody's trying to say, oh, I can work AI into my thing. And they use that word very loosely. There are so many different forms of AI and so many wrong forms out there. And I see so many big companies who are just, they're what we call rappers in the AI business, and they actually just are taking that nice voice and wrapping around that stupid program that was an automated program, and it's not autonomous, and it's leading the wrong path, and it's giving people a worse experience than they intended. The whole idea is to take some of that heavy lifting off, and it's doing the opposite, because it's turning people off, and that's not what you want. You want to engage your customers. That's what I'm saying, like you said. So if you're engaging them with your videos and you're everywhere and you're prolific and you're posting to your Google business page at least every other day, right? At least 12 times a month, you should be posting your Google business page. And anything that you can do with video, the more prolific you can be, content is going to be king, and content's going to win out with Google, and not just Google, but AEO, which is SEO, but with AI in mind. Because now if you're not optimizing for Grok and ChatGPT and Gemini and all the other AI platforms out there, that's another big thing that we're moving into right now, is getting our clients to show up on AI searches versus Google searches.
Yeah.
And it's not hard. It just involves a lot of content and the right strategy.
Thanks for that.
And a human,
going to happen in 2026.
And a human touch, because I'm going to dial back on what you said. Every dealer has a website. Go to most of their websites. Okay, the links are broken. It's July and the car has a picture of snow on it. So once again, no matter how good your technology is, it still has to have some kind of a human touch. So somebody's keeping an eye on it and somebody can work off of it.
Thanks for that. Paul, welcome. Introduce yourself and talk about what you're going to do differently in 2026.
Hi, I'm Paul Storm, founder of a company called Light Blue that's digitally transforming automotive retail. Thank you guys, and I appreciate you having me here. I love the conversation around AI, and I could not agree with you more. Incredibly impactful. It's not going anywhere. It's definitely not a fad. But I also agree in a wholehearted sense that generalizing it or spreading the butter across everything is not the way to win. It has to be used specifically for the actual specific industry. It needs to be tuned, and it needs to be sort of perfected. You can't take just generalized AI models and just apply it everywhere. But if it's done right, and you do focus on it, you do use the right data, it could be incredible. What are we focusing on 2026? I think in the actual automotive world, you're hearing it quite often, which is you're looking for a better overall dealership experience. You hear it everywhere. That seems to be the new buzz, and AI is playing obviously a very big part of it. Ford had just rolled out a whole thing about how they're changing their overall dealerships look and feel, and how their flows are. What we see is we think that we could bring very interactive and immersive digital experiences to the showroom floor to better explain the products that are very, very complex now. And as you see product line changes happening across the automotive landscape, if you look at anything from whether it's Volkswagen Group or the way Cadillac's rolling out different EV models, that having a product specialist up to date on all the different nuances of how that product is ultimately evolving is extremely difficult. If we could use digital technology to be able to standardize that, make it obviously repeatable, scalable, but also make it fun, immersive, interactive, exciting. Whenever you can connect someone to a brand by making them more, or connect someone better to a product, it makes them more connected to that brand. So we just think that that's where things are going to go in 2026. But I also think that website experiences are going to get better as well. I don't think that we're just limiting ourselves to just everything that we're doing from the actual in dealership side. I do think that website experiences are going to grow. They're going to become a lot more expansive, a lot more informational, a lot easier to use. And then you will implement a lot of tools across that stack as far as, communications go, whether it's the initial communication, it's follow-up communication, whether it's pre or obviously post sale. But I do think there's going to be a massive digital shift across the board within the actual automotive industry, which has sort of remained, I'm not going to say devoid of it, but I don't think they've advanced it as far as they have, or as far as it's going to be ultimately going.
Thanks for that. Nick, what are you doing differently in 2026?
Yeah, thanks, Ian. A lot of great stuff. I mean, for everybody on that. One thing like I'm personally doing differently is I'm starting with the question that the dealers want answered. In all my conversations, we talk about AEO, was just brought up, and GEO and core web vitals and all this stuff. And sometimes I think it gets lost. The dealer just wants to know, is this going to sell more cars? So I'm going to start and end every conversation with that. Will this sell more cars? I think that leans into the same thing that dealers should be trying to do for their clients. We want to try and do for ours. We want to give them that experience, right? So that's going to be one important thing that we're going to do moving forward. I think it's important to say, like, for us, we've been hyper focused on, for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, from the website standpoint, what's coming and what's happened with AI and search, and we're really focused on how are our customers using AI search, and what are they using to do that with? So starting with when I came over on this Agadealer team, I just did a little test with Agadealer, our founder, and we found that like over 80% of dealership websites were actively blocking AI. Right? They weren't even letting the AI bot in to see it. So, if you're not, it's not, your website can't just be visible to the consumer. It's got to be visible and readable by AI, right? The AI needs to be able to see it, to be able to quote it, to be able to say, you're the dealership that should, that this customer should visit. And so I think customer experience plays into that massively, because the AIs aren't just trusting, the Google reviews, and you can't just bury your Google reviews with a bunch of other good Google reviews. Now they're going to Reddit. Yelp is back in the game. They're quoting all of these other sources, and if customers aren't speaking highly of you, then you're going to be in trouble, right? So that's a big thing, I think, for us. And then the other side of it is how can AI help a dealer? And the way we're working through that is with our reporting, right? There's a lot of dashboards out there and things that you can do, and graphs and bars and charts, and you can't make sense of it. So starting with that question, is this actually going to help me sell more cars, or did this help me sell more cars? We're training our marketing reporting off of decades of marketing experience, right? Because what AI knows and how it's trained is what's most important. So with decades of marketing experience, we're training our AI and our reporting to be able to answer those questions for dealers, to pinpoint, hey, this is what's broken. Your appointment set ratio drops. And these 3 salespeople are the culprits, right? Let's go work with them on their phone skills. So we're working through that to be able to answer those questions. So we got a bunch of exciting stuff for 2026 that we're working on.
Thanks for that. Chris, I know video is your thing, but maybe you can share what you're doing differently in 2026.
One thing that we're doing differently is on-location training, and we're seeing a need for that. I think Larry can attest to this, that, that's one of the things that dealers don't think anything of spending 50 to 100 grand a month on marketing, but sometimes they don't invest enough, in my opinion, in training. And that's getting their people tuned in to, are they delivering on their brand promise? Do their people know their brand promise? Does the dealership have a brand promise? Those are things that I feel are hugely important and that are designed to set that dealer apart from their competition. And when a dealer is clear on their brand promise and they're working with their teams on a regular basis on delivering that brand promise, it's easy to get testimonials. And that, I think, is certainly you have to have some training around the testimonial capture because most dealers don't have them. But it's easier to train the people on how to get them when they've delivered an exceptional customer experience. What's very difficult is going into an organization and trying to help them get testimonials when they're not doing the first step, which is delighting the customer with an exceptional customer experience.
Right.
That makes it very difficult. But I think that more training is going to be needed, and it's a great place for. I don't think there's a better place in the dealership to invest in than your customer experience. Because when you do invest in your customer experience, CSI scores go up, repeat business goes up, and your referrals go up. It's a win-win-win. There is no downside. Oh, and by the way, you should get some testimonials if you have a method of capturing them. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we had a show last week on service retention on remote service, and what shocked me was just the upside. When I was working with General Motors stores, their high watermark was 40%, but when you get into remote service, not only do you get that up to maybe 75, 80%, you pick up business just because you're in a neighborhood, you're in an office building, you're in a neighborhood, and they're going, what's that? Well, they're servicing my car at home. What? They're servicing my car at work. What? So there's a lot of things there to look at, but more importantly, the CSI increase is massive because who really wants to drive to a dealership to get a recall done or an oil change done? But Larry, I know you don't do any training. What's your thought on, New Year's resolutions and training?
Well, I think the late, great Zig Ziglar said it perfectly. He said, training is like bathing. I recommend it daily because it doesn't last. Chris hit it right on the head. Dealers spend a fortune so you can come in and meet somebody that's unprepared with a bad attitude. It's scary. With sales, it's astonishing that the stuff that makes sense doesn't get done. They don't make eye contact. You guys are all going to laugh at me because I said how untechnical I was. I made a fortune carrying 3x5 cards. And when I met people, I would say, hey, welcome to, here's my card. Can I ask your name? And because I pulled out this dumb little card and I looked so unthreatening, I got the mom's name, the dad's name, the kid's name. I put a note if one of the kids had a red hat. If you don't call people by name, if you don't smile, if you don't look like you're interested, you're dead. With service, if any of you have had your car serviced, how tired are you walking into a place to spend your money? And the first question is, do you have an appointment? How about, hey, it's great to see you today. What can we do to accommodate you? It's just dumb. It's like walking into a restaurant. She says, you look kind of fat. I guess you don't want any food. I'll bring you some water. We just have to be smarter about what we're doing. And think about it. You guys are all sophisticated. You understand the car business. How screwed up is it that the OEM rewards dealers and service and salespeople with CSI? Shouldn't CSI be a natural function of what we do? Shouldn't you want people to be so happy that they'll refer you on to the next person? Used to be years and years ago, the Japanese had no quality control. It wasn't necessary because it would be such a horrible insult that they didn't do their job properly. So it's just like everything else. It's how you approach it. And if you're not smart enough to keep your people trained and keep them engaged, it's ugly. But guys, I'm sure you're all in stores, they're dealing with them. Ask your dealers, how many of them are having sales service meetings? I bet you it's a small fraction when it should be 100%, because there's always a wall, not literal, but a metaphysical wall between variable and fixed, even though there should be a symbiotic relationship between them. How many dealers these days have their salespeople do role playing and maybe walk arounds, or throw $100 on the table and says, whoever does the best walk around this month? There's just little simple things we can do. Hey, the best athletes in the world are the Olympians, right? They train 4 years, and if they're off by 100th of a second, they go home without a medal. They don't train every 6 months. They train every day. So hopefully that answered that question, Chris.
Resolutions? Yes, no?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's clear to Paul, he just met me. I'm trying to come out of my shell. You know, when you're as shy as me your entire life, you just miss so many opportunities. So I am planning to come out of my shell and take over the entire universe. I have been calling myself, Paul, the world's greatest trainer, but with Elon Musk being ambitious with Mars, I'm going for the galaxy. And Ian's seen me in person, I'll tell you, it's not that far.
I can't wait to meet
I believe that you'll absolutely do it. One of the things I'd like to add, stemming off of that, is understand that in automotive, the main differentiation is the overall experience. The product is the same, right? They're selling the same product, right? There's no there. If you go to a Ford store, it's the same product line. It isn't like, you know, restaurants where you'll have better food, or even car washes, right? Where someone just might detail better. The product is what's static. The only thing that the dealership can ultimately do is to make that experience better. And ultimately, if you think about experience as its whole, you're even dating back now with there's more things as far as, you know, reviews, and somebody mentioned Yelp, that Yelp is coming back. You're either going to a place because your perception is that experience is going to be better, or you're looking at reviews now, which are very vast, and looking at others and the experience that they've had, and you're hoping that yours mirrors that. So if you look at dealerships itself, it's the same product. The main differentiation is always going to be in the overall experience, and the expectation of what the consumer wants as far as an experience now has been ultimately heightened. So I think that as dealerships evolve, as technology evolves, the experience will get better, and it'll get better beyond just the product specialists knowing everything they need to know about the overall product. I think that we could bring a lot of digital there that can explain the product and make those product specialists more hospitality people. And if you're driving more towards hospitality people know how to make a good an average experience good, and a good experience great. And I think that's what's going to ultimately win.
But Paul, that's a direct result of the mindset change. If you have the proper training, if you teach people how to motivate. Have you ever sold cars, Paul?
No.
If you haven't, let me tell you what car salespeople talk about all day. It's not sports and it's not sex. It's that there's no business. And then when a car pulls up, 3 morons go, he doesn't look like a buyer, let's send the rookie out.
But
So
if you shift from a sales individual and you're hiring more hospitality people, if you're going to local jobs, if you're going to local universities or even large ones, and you're specifically interviewing people that are coming out of a degree that's specifically designed in hospitality, first of all, if somebody's gone through a 4-year hospitality degree, they have those soft skills there. It's a different mindset. It's a different person. It's like someone that goes into nursing, right? It's not everyone that's going to go through and actually go through nursing, right? You have to be a certain type of individual, or someone that is a firefighter, police person.
We've always understood that. I owned a dealership and now I recruit all over the country. We love servers, we love bartenders, because we know they understand the key is to keep people so happy they can't wait to come back. But I'm telling you, it starts with the overall approach. If you got on this program, you came on a bit late, and you had your hand over the phone and you were saying to your wife, yeah, I gotta go on this stupid show. We would be real enthused to receive you on. But if you come on and you look excited, people perceive you're excited, right? If you come in and you're real excited to look at the car and I go, can I help you? Not really. Is there anybody here that's having a good day? So
But
again, it's
the
maximizing
domain.
the AI, but it's not forgetting the humanity. We're still
Oh.
human, and that's really the differentiation. AI can't put its arm around you, can't say, yeah, I hate when that happens, or smile at you.
100%. Plus, I mean, when you look at it, when you're recruiting people, and I've heard this for many years, that a lot of general managers and even sales managers and even dealers say, hey, if I'm at a local restaurant, I have a great experience, the first thing I'm going to do is hand them a card, say, hey, if you're ever looking to sell cars, I mean, we're all in. But more importantly, to Paul's point, yeah, if you have some training in that area, but more importantly, you can manage a lot of spinning plates, because the biggest misconception about the car business is that it's easy, when really it's not easy. But more importantly, if you've already proven you can spin plates when people are screaming at you in a restaurant or a hotel or a bar, you probably can deal with the car business. But Chris, what is your thought on New Year's resolutions and what are you doing and the plan for 2026?
First of all, I can't wait to meet the new not shy Larry, because you know, personal New Year's resolution, you know, I'm going to give up alcohol. So I've done it 3 times in the past 2 years with incredible clarity, and not because I have a problem, but because of just personal performance. I've given it up for 90 days at a time, including the past 2 NABAs, which is pretty interesting because a lot of people drink NABA. And when you don't, you see and hear a lot more. But I'm giving it up, and that's a personal goal of mine. Professionally, I plan to grow my company. We're working on getting some funding, and I'm super excited about the direction we're headed with the 2 service offerings that we currently have, which are the testimonial capture and then the reputation marketing piece. So I couldn't be more excited about 2026.
Fantastic, and congrats on your goal there. You can drink some of that de-alkalized beer. It tastes the same without the side effects, just in case you wanted to. I've been diabetic for 25 years, so I don't really drink alcohol at all. But anyway, Nick, what's your thought on New Year's resolutions?
New Year's resolution, I'm not going to open my email. Resolution, I'm not going to do it. If I make it to January 2nd and I haven't opened Outlook, I'm going to call it in. But yeah, no, I mean, just more personal, you know, for me with New Year's resolutions. You're in the car business, you constantly got a goal. You know, so you know, I never really did the professional New Year's resolution, but you know, for personal New Year's resolutions every year is always to spend more, you know, good quality time with my wife and my kids, and just, you know, family and enjoy it. That really is, you know, the way I like to try and kick off the year. So yeah.
Congrats, Ron. New Year's resolutions other than the football helmet collection.
I have to say I'm not a big resolution guy. I don't usually do resolutions. I don't have to worry about dry January because I drink very rarely. So that's out. That's not part of the equation. My goal is to build the business. The AI is really taken off, and even Blue Gorilla Digital. We've got so many new tools coming into our arena that we're focused on that. I would love to be able to simplify. It's very tough to do that in the digital world right now. Everything is getting more and more complicated. Some of the AI tools can help you do that, but you know, a lot of it goes back to I have to excuse myself, the phone's ringing off the hook here. I have a son stranded in Buffalo right now with a snowstorm. The thing that I go back to is some of the things that were talked about earlier today, and that is the social media and the video. And I'll tell you why. If you look at people like that my son is 28 years old. These people don't watch television, right? They don't pick up a newspaper. They do get everything on their phone. And social media is very important, but there's a key to that. And even your advertising, there's a key to that. People want authentic content. You think about that word, authentic, right? They don't want to be told to or sold to. They want to be talked to, and then they want to be informed. And when you can present information to a customer, When a customer walks in your showroom and you can tell them why this vehicle might be a better option based on their circumstances than the one that they're looking at, okay? Consultative selling, we're going back to 101, but on a human level. And I think the whole world is going that way because these kids that have grown up that are now in that buying age and they're, that 30-year to 50-year-old person who, changed their media habits and has relied on social in so many ways. It's not just the entertainment, but it's the information that they get. Right? They get it in short, choppy bits. So you've got to be a master at giving them what they want very quickly. But you got to do it without selling them. Tell them, don't sell them. And I think that should be the New Year's resolution for every dealer and every sales manager out there. And the problem is, sales managers were raised as sales guys. Okay. And they're all focused on the holy grail of making the nut at the end of the month and getting their goal at the end of the month. And they're doing it any way and every way they can. And I see that in my dealers' budgets for Blue Gorilla Digital that are so focused on lead gen. And they're not focused on building their brand. And their people can be their brand. And that USP that you talked about, Chris, that unique selling proposition, that what makes your car, your dealership different than everybody else, you got to focus on that because that's the only thing separating you from every other dealership in the entire county that you're working in, right? Everybody sells the same car and everybody gets it for the same price. It's how do you convey to the dealer or to the customer that you are the one that they should be buying. And all the digital tools in the world can't do that. It's the people skills and the people themselves and the messaging that you put out that is going to make a difference in your world this coming year. I mean, if you want to be left behind, keep doing what you're doing is what I say for 2026.
Thanks for that. Peter, New Year's resolutions.
Well, New Year's resolutions are really simple. We're going to keep expanding and educating like we're doing today. I want to thank all the guests for joining us. The goal, like we talked about, you, me, and Larry have been talking about, is for next year is to really help change the way dealers think about a lot of things, about fixed ops, the importance of fixed ops, improving the relationships, building better online presences, making this whole experience better. And one of the things that we're going to do with the Auto Hub show is we're going to be really focusing on the upcoming year with new shows. And every show, for the dealers that are listening, every show we're going to try and go out. Like last week, we had Ed from Bozar Ford. I mean, one of the top guys in the country. We're going to bring great guests like that to support the other guests we've got. So we're able to provide the information and educate the dealers and help them reach their goals. So that's kind of what I'm excited about.
Fantastic. And then speaking of that, NADA 26 is almost here. What's your thoughts on how you're going to prepare for NADA 2026 and how you're going to make sure you don't swing and miss on that? Let's start with Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. We're working on a couple of different things for NADA, and the preparation's been going on for a lot longer than that, right? So the plan set is in place. A lot of outreach, a lot of social outreach, a lot of that kind of stuff. We've got a new product that we're coming out with, just the dashboard you don't have to look at, the anti-dashboard, because nobody ever woke up and said, hey, look at that dashboard. I've got dashboard envy, right? Your dashboard's cooler than mine, right? So we've got that coming out. So looking forward to having a ton of really, really good conversations. This will be my first NADA as a vendor, right? So I'm pumped for that. Always wanted as a dealer. So that no drinking during NADA is probably easier as a vendor than as a dealer. I would think. You'll have to let me know how that goes. But I think right now the industry is it's changing faster than it ever has, right? AI, affordability pressure, new ways for customers to find you. There's one thing that I think came out of this that I heard from everybody. The fundamentals they still haven't changed, right? And so if you're a leader and you're watching this, or if you want to become a leader in the automotive industry and you're watching this, I would say know your customers, serve your customers, serve your employees. Don't waste money on stuff that doesn't work, right? Everything that we're building at Savvy Dealer is in service of that as well. So we're excited for NADA. I hope to see a bunch of everybody at the show.
Thanks very much. Chris, what's your goal for NADA 2026 other than no drinking? I mean, I'm assuming not gambling either, right?
Well, I was fortunate enough to get selected to speak, so I'm pretty excited
Congrats.
about that. Yeah, and I got selected, I believe, because of two things. My prep, Jonathan Dawson had a workshop that taught, basically that was designed to help better your chances of getting selected. So I followed his blueprint, but more importantly, I think it was my topic, which is beyond Google reviews, next level trust marketing, and that's where I unpack really how a dealer can go beyond just Google reviews and create trust, sharing customer stories. And that's the secret in your marketing. Every dealer goes up to the rooftop and shouts, "Hey, we're the best, come buy from us." But what consumers believe is what your current customers are saying. So we're putting the voice of the customers to work in our dealers marketing. And that's what my workshop is about in the Learning Lab. So super excited about it. And then I will be at the V20 group, the V20 shared booth, which I'm excited about because I think that'll generate more traffic than having our own booth. I'm hoping that anyway. Yeah, I'm just excited to get out there and really develop relationships is what I found to be the biggest benefit of NADA. You're not typically closing deals on the floor. Maybe we will, but the relationships is what I'm looking to develop while I'm there.
Fantastic. Larry, I know you've been to a few NADAs. I know we were there last year and been for several years. What do you plan to get out of NADA 2026?
Well, as always, I want to pick up as much information as I can. But what I'm really looking forward to is just shaking as many hands as I can. Because as you've seen, every time we meet some people, we pick them up as clients. And like before, we'll also be visiting your booth. And the rest of you gentlemen, if Ian knows how to reach you, let's all, if you're at NAD, let's see if we can get together. I do more together than we can individually anyway. Looking forward to seeing everybody.
Fantastic. Ron, NADA 2026.
The biggest thing that I'm going to do is make sure I have some comfortable walking shoes. I put way too many miles on the floor when I'm at NADA, but my goal is going to be the same. It's going to be shaking hands, press the flesh, talking to my dealers that are out there and looking. I go there as I'm on a reconnaissance mission every time I go there. I go to the little tiny booths. I like to see where these companies are that are popping up out of nowhere, and then a year or two later see them blossom and become huge. Right. I'm looking for the great ideas. Some of the big box players that we're used to that are kind of now dominating the space. Certain dealers fall prey to some of the stuff that they have, and they try to become everything to everybody. Whereas there are certain things that are better fits for smaller dealers and different dealers, and there's new stuff coming out that everybody needs to pay attention to. And that's what I'm going to be doing when I'm out at NADA is paying attention to what's new, and there's going to be a lot of it.
Fantastic. Paul, thoughts on NADA 2026?
Yeah, it's my first one, and I just got into the automotive domain. So it's strengthening the human connections that I've made over the last couple of years. I would love to meet everyone that's on this panel here face to face. I think it's going to be wonderful. And then, of course, walking the show floor and getting more familiarized with some of the legacy offerings and some of the stuff that's actually rolling out new. So I think it's making that, it's just as everybody else said, it's making that human connection and maybe building bigger and better friendships.
Fantastic. Now, final thoughts. We're going to start with Peter. What's your final thoughts as you prepare for the end of 2025? What do you celebrate?
I'm just looking forward to getting through NADA. This is kind of like our busiest time of the year because everybody's hiring us and we're helping a lot of people market their booths for NADA. So it's going to be a busy month. NADA is going to be kind of like the culmination of a lot of hard work. So looking forward to a great year. I think things are going to continue to get better. I think as we get these interest rates down, sales are going to come back, and business is going to boom. And I'm excited to also see all of the new technology. Like I said, a lot of new stuff coming out in NADA this year. So it's going to be a great time. Looking forward to seeing everybody there.
Fantastic. Larry, what's your plan for New Year's and what have you learned from 2025?
My New Year's are to see if I can turn Chris back to drinking. I tend to push people to those extremes. By the way, if any of your dealers need to get pumped up, whether you're I was a Cadillac dealer and we also did a lot of used car business. I don't care what you're selling. I guess maybe if you're a Ferrari dealer, it doesn't matter. But for everybody else, one of the magical times was always when the tax refunds came in. Well, these tax refunds are going to be bigger than they've ever been because of some of the machinations that Trump put into effect. So you're going to see dealers have a big pump up with that. You're going to see dealers have a big pump up with the interest rates coming down. And because so many dealers buried people, fair or not fair, in cars, you're going to see better leasing programs. This way that they're still paying, but it'll be short-term pain instead of long-term. So with better programs from the OEM, with tremendous refunds coming and interest rates coming down, how can you not be excited about 2026?
Thanks for that. Chris, I'm not endorsing the return to drinking, but what have you learned from 2025 and what are you planning to do in celebration for New Year's this year?
My celebration at New Year's is going to be pretty laid back. Probably sitting at home, drinking the last bottle of wine with my wife.
I told you, I already have him back to drinking. We're not even in 2026.
But at midnight, I have to stop. So to hold to my new habit. But no, I'm very optimistic about the new upcoming year. I think the economy, I'm optimistic that we're going to have a boom and that, things are going to get better for everybody. So that's my belief. Yeah, so super excited about 2026.
Fantastic. Ron.
I'm doing nothing. Laying low and going over to some friends for dinner in the neighborhood and then walking back to the house. And it's funny, I just thought about something. I don't think there's a single person who's committed to doing a dry January that doesn't raise the toast at 12:01 and take a sip of champagne and blow it all out. You've already broken your promise when you do that. No, just looking for a good year, looking for a prosperous economy. I think, gosh, I woke up this morning and when I looked at what the Dow was doing and what the S&P was doing, I mean, we're looking at record highs. The gas was down to, I think it was down to 58 again this morning. It's like, there are some bright things that are going to happen. And you can't ignore what is part of that economy. You can tell that the foundation is there for things to get better for people. And I think that's going to happen. I love the idea about the leases and the clean. You think about the origin of a lease in the first place. That was a way to make cars more affordable way back when, right? That was the entire intent of having a short-term lease. Whoever came up with that idea was a master, right?
It was Audi.
And then who was it?
Audi. They had a sudden acceleration. Somebody got killed. They had to get back into the American market, so they deferred short-term lease.
Well, see, that's it. It's going to happen because people need to have they still buy on payment, right? People look at price, but they buy on payment. They still have to make it work within their budget. They have to know what they're spending, and they are very careful about it. And that's most of America. All right, it's the 98% of Americans are very conscious about what's going out of their pocket on a monthly basis. And so I think that is going to make a difference because that's going to be where people start relying to. So those markets that only have, 10, 15% penetration, you're going to see that going up to 20, 30, 40%, because that's what's going to happen because of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you haven't watched the interview, it's a masterclass in leasing. If you want to get big into leasing in 2026, definitely watch it. It gives you the history, gives you how to plan short, mid, and long term, and how to present a lease, which is the most important thing. Nick? You're muted. There you
go. How to present a lease? Every single pencil present a lease. Right? I don't know why that ever went away.
Yeah.
But when I learned that dealers weren't doing that, I guess it went away during COVID when leasing just wasn't affordable, right? And a lot of things happened during COVID. I think a lot of processes got atrophied right through that process. I think that it has the ability to atrophy some processes as well for us. We got to be careful with that. But I think that I agree. There's a lot of opportunity, going into the next year. Like I said at the beginning, I think the operators who were really focused on their people, I think they're gonna perform best, and they're gonna pull away from the competition. So yeah, there's gonna be a good 2026, and we're looking forward to all the new relationships that we've been building. Savvy Dealer, and looking forward to seeing all you guys at the show. So
fantastic, Paul. Final thought to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. New Year's, probably not going to celebrate too much. I don't call myself the life of the party, but I will probably change glasses. Moving on to 2026, I think I'm very optimistic, and I think everyone should be very, very excited. I think the innovation, not only from the technology side within the automobile itself, it's advancing tremendously. I think the EVs, I think EVs by and whole, I don't think they're going away. I think they'll just find a much better purpose. And I think the people that are shifting back to ICE or maybe even hybrid are going to make bigger and better products. I just do. I think it's a complete restart that really had to happen. And I think coming out of the EV side, if you look at the way the vehicles were either engineered or the way that they look, they're very, very advanced. I think that's going to carry over to these new vehicles, whether it be ICE or hybrid. So I think from the product side, ultimately we're all selling, or we're selling into the places that are selling that product. I think the product is just going to get so much better. It's showing its face now. It's just getting better. I think from the other side, I think where tech is going to play role is in the overall experience. So you're not only getting a much better product, which is what we said is basically standardized, but the way that technology is going to be implemented, whether that's through follow-up, whether that's through reviews, whether that's through a better customer experience, whether that's to inform people more about the product pre or even post sale. I just think it's going to get better. So I think we're in a wonderful time in really automotive. I don't think we've seen this in a long time. It stayed pretty much legacy, and I think now we're sort of hitting this great wave, both between product and tech, and I think it's going to be a wonderful start.
Thanks very much. Everybody, have yourself a great new year. And we had some welcome. Thank you from AJ Hoist for Happy New Year's. Go ahead.
Can I give Peter Martin the Cactus Sky a shout out?
Yeah.
They've been doing some marketing for us, and it's really that email marketing is really starting to take effect. We just landed a new deal, and just want to give those guys over there, Cactus Sky, they're crushing it for us. So appreciate everything you're doing, Peter. And Ian, thank you for having me on the show.
No worries. Thank you. And if you don't know Peter, I've known him for about 15 years. Definitely knows his stuff, and he does the marketing for the show. So if you are interested in more information on Peter, just reach out to me or to Peter directly. Have yourself a great New Year's. All the best wishes, and good luck with the no drinking. I hope you get that in. Happy New Year to you.
Everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Bye, everybody. Have a great one.
See you soon.